Yes, yeah. Just one. Okay. So if you could please give us an envelope whenever we come and ask for one. That's it. That's the job. Thank you very much.
Dear Miruna, are you pleased now that you have left the beach of fossils behind? And have you yet decided what words, what images you want to memorize? Suggestions sent into the wind, whatever blows around the nose, whatever blows in one eye, will be cried out the other. Little churchyard, with its lamenting names, and Rilke's poem, like a written leaf that had once fallen from a tree, always unfolded in the same way. Again and again, it says. Just like a burdock clinging to your heart. Why wouldn't you stay?
Dear Lydia, you lived in a manor once. Well, not a manor, just a large terraced house on a street called Manor Avenue in southeast London. It's all the same. Your room is cold, your sash window is always attracted to the earth. The garden is very long and erupts with black dahlias that no one has planted. It has a fish pond and a disused treehouse where in the summer of 2020 you make your friends pee. The rent is cheap. The landlords moved to Australia 20 years ago and know nothing about London rental prices. Were you trying, like a fool, to leave the manor? You keep meeting people who have at some point in their lives lived in the manor, so you begin to lose your sense of self to it. You start to consider that the house might be a rite of passage, or that the dahlias were planted by your own friends, or your mother, or your shadow self. By the time you decide to leave, you've forgotten the wind and the way to that little churchyard.
Again and again.
Again and
Shift
again.
of the sky.
Shift of the sky.
When will you arrive?
When will you arrive?
Dear Miruna, if you could write the beauty of what you see in dreams that you dream since you've been sleeping in this house, since you've been on your own, surrounded by strangeness and sea clouds, words would sprout like flowers in your mouth, always thirsty when you wake up. All of a sudden you believe in what you thought wouldn't work out. You write letters in languages once learned and lost and learned, and probably you'll lose it again. Lieber Traum, das ist ein Friedensangebot, weil einer von uns stets zuerst finden wird, was der andere unaufhörlich sucht.
Dear Lydia, with hellish regularity you receive notice soon after moving into any house. That one time you have a rickety bike, purple, whose bell has never worked, but everyone can hear you coming anyway, on top of your screaming pile of metal. You go on viewings, viewing, being viewed. In one house they have a canoe in the back garden, overgrown with honeysuckle, plus an attic room with wooden floors, a writer's desk and a bay window, and through the window falling in, a light from which you can't untie the word devotional. The next day, in some cul-de-sac, a rabbit-like man named Gavin throws you against the wall with his whole body when you rush to unlock the door. And the next day, you must keep on viewing. You can't close your eyes.
Dear Miruna, ivy and mold is remodeling the garden. Recognition is a lifelong exercise. Little spider in the color of the freshly laundered lilac blues, a penumbra color, which you've given 8 names. You hardly ever go out. It's a window view now, and in all things you see only time whispering. You don't have to place me or write me a letter, but you can't chase me away either. You need me to compare and to forget. My shape is the braids of your daughters. My voice the dying buzz of the wasp on the windowsill, the slight unease I evoke when you move your shadow and realize you never locked the doors of the houses you've lived in. Again and again.
Again and again.
Shift of the sky.
Shift
When
of the
will
sky.
you arrive?
When you arrive. Dear Lydia, again and again you wake up in a different house, always at the foot of a mountain consumed by fire. The houses flicker in your memory like slides succeeding each other too quickly through a magic lantern. You have hung your room with chains of arnica, with marigold. You have made diligent attempts at healing. Were you trying like a fool to make a home? Were you trying like a magician to make 9?
Dear Miruna, you can live more ascetically. Remember when your mother took the last piece of apple pie from your hand. You've had enough. You've had the bay and bicycle. You've had many viewing points and a back garden canoe, overgrown. Who the hell needs a writer's desk when you can use any? Or write directly in your lap? People don't read your face anyway.
Dear Lydia, in this one, you've inherited a lavender fortune. You live it out in an Italian villa, faded frescoes and a labyrinth of geometric cypresses. You have many daughters, all with braids hanging down their backs, spitting out ribbons. They have come out whole from your head, except one, whose father is a golden man. A few years into this life, you grow tired of the constant leaks under the Venetian tiles.
Dear Miruna, see, it's still raining leaves and your writing pad is thinning out. Why do you keep being naked in this town? And what did you take off first? Or was it robbery? Perhaps the son of the golden man you loved? The floor remains cool until the evening hours. It has survived more than one war. The question below, if you lift a loose tile, who are you? Where have you been hiding? Shower under glacier cold water, like this in every season.
Dear Lydia, some days you know why you can't leave. It's your head that doesn't want to move. You're folded up in bed, a chrysalis. Through the window you watch the wet lilac changing, growing muscular violet flower, while you slosh unchanged under the ceiling. Water plunged into water, quiet lymph, never nymph.
Dear Miruna, one night you slept on the street. Several nights in trains or cars, even on a boat. Things carried you on when you were totally calm. Today you are wobbling on your chair. The dizziness comes from the sun. Sitting on the terrace, having tea, visiting your parents. The village has a new supermarket, but it is only half the size it once was. The neighbors, whose first names you've forgotten, or never knew, have built a tree house for a handful of kids, their grandchildren and their grandchildren's friends, your parents say. You can't wobbling and nodding. Come on, have another piece of cake, they say, and the neighbors wave over. But again and again, you think of the street back then, the saturating smell and the two men next to you, one of them made of bronze. The morning you got up and left, you waved goodbye. The other ones slept on. Again and again.
Again and again.
Shift of the sky.
Shift of the sky.
When will you arrive?
When will you arrive? Thank you.